Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are going to be answering the question, is being loyal to a fault a good thing? Being loyal to a fault is another phrase for unconditional love. This person that you are interacting with can do no wrong to you. I believe being loyal to a fault is fine with family members, but I think it's very risky to do it with people that are not family, because different individuals will waste years of your life and you will not have a clue because you are blinded by the concept of being loyal to a fault. There was this one buddy of mine who was a really good friend. I mean, to this day, I have a soft spot for this buddy. And the reason that I have a soft spot for him was because when I first got to college, I didn't know anyone. I was moving out of my parents' place for the first time ever, and I was just feeling very rattled. And whenever I was going to these different events, everyone seemed like they had their own crews, while me, I was just standing there thinking, what do I do? And this buddy, let's just call him Tom, would every now and then see me just standing by myself in these events, and he would go out of his way to introduce me to different folks. And whenever I wasn't saying much, he would go out of his way to ask me certain questions to keep me involved in the conversation. That was a small moment from the entire time that I've known Tom, but that moment was something that I never forgot. Due to him taking care of me at that point of my college journey, even as adults, I had Tom's back. A lot of his friends had his back. Tom went from being someone that we sort of knew to becoming a part of our close squad. But here's what happened with Tom. Tom got obsessed with alcohol. And he was one of those guys that, he's very little. So whenever he took one shot, he would be wasted. And God forbid he took 2 shots. And he would start to act a fool. 98% of his life, he's a completely normal guy. But whenever he drank, he became such a jerk. And he would do a bunch of different things to embarrass myself and the other friends. We would try to tell him the next day, look, Tom, you're acting like a fool. And he's like, me? Nah, man, I'm a polished drunk. And then we start to show him videos of him acting like a fool. And he still doesn't believe it. He's like, haha, yeah, bro. I wonder who that is. I'm like, that's you, bro. You're wearing the same shirt in this video as you're wearing right now. But this guy was in denial. He would not believe it. Eventually, there came a point where Tom did a lot of shady things. He betrayed a lot of people's trust. I was like, you know what, man? I'm done with this. I don't have time to babysit another grown dude. He's older than me, but he's acting like a child. I don't have time for this, man. I got other stuff to do in my life. But a lot of the other friends, they were like, no, we're going to make sure Tom gets back on his feet. And they tried. They tried for many different years. One of the guys actually lived with Tom. They're like, one of the best ways that I can bring Tom back to reality is by being his roommate. So he's roommates with Tom. And these two are both single guys. One time they go out in Orlando. They go on they hit the streets. They find 2 women who are also single, and they bring them back to their apartment. And what happens is that one of the girls apparently bought her puppy. Tom got so drunk that Tom kicked the puppy. And that's when my buddy, who was like, hey, I'm gonna save Tom, was like, I don't know if this guy could be saved. 1 year of his life was wasted trying to babysit Tom in this apartment. And this was only 1 year. For a lot of folks, when you're loyal to a fault, it could be for multiple years, which I get, right? If Tom is someone that I viewed as a second brother, then I could understand the concept of loyal to a fault. Which brings me back to the initial point. Being loyal to a fault is only fine whenever it's dealing with family. Because this is what I call, Robert Kiyosaki says that gold is God's money. We didn't make it. It's just there, and we're over here assigning value to it. So that's God's money. And I say family members are what you call God's friends. where we didn't go ahead and choose our family members. We were just given them to us. And someone may be like, wait a minute, that's more reason not to be loyal to a fault with them. What if the mom or the dad, whatever, they're just a piece of shit? What am I going to do then? Whatever people do is fine in relationship to their life. All I'm saying is I see more of a case for loyal to a fault with family members because we know them on a deep, intimate level. I'm not talking about stepdads and stepbrothers that you've never seen. I'm talking about these folks that you grew up with and they fall on a tough time. They become an alcoholic. I think it's smart to not discard that relationship too quick, but to see it through. Or with Tom, I mean, he was sort of like a brother at a certain point, but eventually it got to a point where it was like, nah, man, I can't be loyal to a fault with this guy. And he did a lot of shady things too. It's not just the alcohol thing. He was just a very weird guy. And I called him the creeper. So as more and more of his character strikes began to add up, the more I started to evaluate the philosophy of, is being loyal to a fault smart? No, it's not. Some people will not change for a long time, maybe 15 plus years. And if you're over here trying to save this guy, you're going to miss out on hitting your goals, your dreams, and much more. So be very careful about being too kind, being one of those guys that's like, I could save anyone, because it's very difficult to pick up a new habit. You know this. You try to wake up at 5 a.m. many times. You struggled. You know this. So if it's so hard to change ourselves, what makes you think that it's easy to change other folks? It's not. So be very wary about being loyal to a fault with the wrong people, because they could waste years, if not decades, of your life. Thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. And if you enjoyed this talk, go on and drop that like for me right on below. I'll catch you next time.